Off top, Tyrone Muggsy Bogues played 14 years in the NBA at 5'3", 135 pounds. Play the music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show. I'm joined by the great Charlie Kravitz. That's outrageous, man.
It's the coolest.
What would be, I was racking my brain. That size discrepancy in the league is absurd. 5'3", 135, played in the NBA 14 years. So I inevitably thought, like, what's the football version of that? And I had a hard time. I can't even think of anything that's possible. Like, Kyler Murray comes to mind, but it's still not even close.
Imagine if Rudy didn't suck.
Rudiger?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He was like a 170-pound guard at Notre Dame.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
170?
Or something like that.
Yeah.
I might have just completely.
But
he
never played.
How much did let's Google
how tall was Rudy?
How much
big was
did
Rudy
weigh? Yeah, and it's not like he led the NBA in steals.
If
Rudy
you just-
Rudiger, 165 pounds.
Oh, if you just type
5'6".
That's it. If he would have been good.
If Rudy wasn't absolute cheeks, he would have been the Muggsy Bogues of football.
I just typed. Okay, I got the same thing. I was wondering. I just typed Rudy into my search bar to see if like
Defensive
I
end,
would
not
get
either guard. Sorry.
see if I would get a different result other than the movie. But I got Rudy also. Like I don't know. I thought maybe Google thought like I was an old black man and they thought I was talking about Rudy Huxtable or something. Are there other famous Rudys?
Yeah, Gobert.
Oh yeah, they
Gobert.
definitely knew I was talking about Gobi.
This is a good point. We've talked about Muggsy Bogues and Rudy Gobert. We are gonna have Wosny Lambre on in a little bit. The NBA. We're gonna find out what we've missed. I know we're mostly a football podcast, but we're gonna find out what we missed. And
we're gonna footballize this basketball segment
That's
too.
Exactly
it's gonna be
right.
so much fun because I think a lot of people are like us. We've been knee deep in football up until now, and we're excited about getting on to basketball. But we need a little ramp right into getting us understand what we're missing and what we need to be watching for.
And also, like the NBA normally starts on Christmas, but the NFL they took that. And I know it's amazing because Domonique decided to dress for Christmas today because he's viewing this as the start of the NBA season.
That's a good one. I'll give you credit.
It's either that or he's going to wear that to the Super Bowl in the week and be like, I'm rooting for both teams.
That's a smart joke. It's not that funny, but it's a good one. And no one, I mean, what about the audio audience? They don't have anything.
It's a red and green plaid shirt.
You know how to make jokes real funny? Explain them.
Yep. Well, do you want to explain that I held that joke for 5 minutes right before the segment?
I don't know if you guys know this. As you get to know Charlie and I, one thing about Charlie is he cannot keep a secret. It has been a problem for our relationship. Not a real problem, like he can't keep a secret that I tell him for other people, but a problem in that part of the like magic of doing a show is being able to surprise people. And when Charlie finds a good stat or finds a good joke or has some good information, it's like, I would like him to hold it and then shock me with it on air, but he's just always, I can feel it. It's just like,
yeah, these are not personal secrets that I'm withholding. These are like show, like, it'll be better on air. But you know what the irony of that is? The one time we kept the secret, I wanted to use this line on Barnwell that said, you can't spell cope without CPOE. And then I didn't tell you ahead of time, and I forgot to use it on air.
That's probably for the best. I think Barwell didn't need you piling on because that was after one of his sacred cows lost. But his sacredest of all sacred cows is still winning.
This was Lebitard sends me and you angry texts on our text thread together being like, why are you wasting your impersonation of me in small stakes locations when you could be using it better? He's basically like, you don't know how to keep a show secret until we get there. And I'm like, yep, that's right.
We need to add this to your Labratard impersonation. Crappy wordplay.
Oh, yeah.
Like hokey wordplay where it's like, I agreed.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't tell you about that one.
Yeah, it's the best. I mean,
what's another example of a crappy Lebitard wordplay where he hits you with a double entendre and thinks that you need to fall down in shock and awe with how awesome this was.
Oh yeah, you mean the one where whenever he talks about going to the Great Wall of China with Michael Jordan and he goes, I walked behind the soles of Jordan in the place that took the soul of Air Jordan.
That one actually's got it fire.
Yeah, but you know he just listened to he just listened to Jay-Z being like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man, and he was like, I'm gonna put that in every essay for the rest of my life.
Oh gosh. All right.
God, I hadn't done that in a while. It just came out naturally.
you nailed it. We have to find the proper wordplay for you to use in gladiator spectacle.
Yeah, gladiator games, combat sport, not a contact sport, antiseptic. Economies are built off of this.
Economies. That man loves economies.
Oh yeah,
he loves economies. All right. The Rudy search reminded me of another search that we did. One of our beloved producers has a new nickname.
Yeah,
John B.
Yeah,
and he didn't know who John B was.
No.
Well, he got the nickname John Brown.
Yeah.
We won't tell you why he got that nickname, but he got the nickname John Brown. Formerly, his nickname was Coach Wahoo. So I'm thinking we're thinking about Wahoo Brown maybe, or Who Brown.
Who Brown is
Who
good.
Brown is a dope nickname. I like that. I buy Who Brown's album. But anyway, I mentioned that I'm going to just start calling him John B. And he was like, who's John B? Like, you don't know the 90s R&B singer who is white and we all thought he was black until we actually saw him?
And my thought was, you don't know the heartthrob from Outer Banks?
I was like, hell no. That's my John B is the John B who had a goatee and would sing R&B ballads and was.
Mine is the one who was looking for gold in a Netflix show that was really similar to National Treasure that came out right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I needed 8 hours of time to kill because I was sitting at home in like April of 2020, and I was like, let's watch these kids find this gold.
I've never seen Outer Banks. Like, I've heard of it before. I've never.
Spoiler alert, they're searching for gold.
Do they find it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Does anybody die?
Yeah, a bunch of people.
Good. Yeah, that's a good program then.
Yeah. No.
It's not good?
It started good. I lost after season 2.
What are you watching now? We got to find something to watch together.
Severance, season 2. Big Easter egg guy.
I didn't watch season 1, so I
think you'll really like it.
You watched The Diplomat?
No.
I like that. You'll like it. 2 seasons, knocked out. Third season's a little bit down the road, but you should jump on that. All right. We just finished watching a little bit of the Pro Bowl games.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't watch the Pro Bowl games yet. We watched Dan Orlovsky do the passing challenge, and it was impressive.
I was shockingly impressed with Orlovsky.
That's great. It's really impressive. I'm proud of Dan. Don't be that impressed, though. Like, he's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we see NFL quarterbacks be kind of bad at that, and he was like the worst NFL quarterback.
Well, NFL quarterbacks roll out of their season, spend the night before partying with their friends, and then stumble into the little passing challenge and throw some balls up and don't care. I guarantee you, Dan Orlovsky's been traded for that all year, and he nailed it.
It didn't work on you, but it impressed me, Dan.
Oh no,
Dan, you impressed me with it. The fact
I'm not saying it's not impressive. It is impressive. He's an NFL quarterback. No pressure. It's good. He got it done. It was very impressive. I don't mean to denigrate his achievement.
That looked like it was like a 30-yard throw.
You know what I want? I want Marcus Spears to do it.
That's what
Yeah.
Joke theft. Joke theft. I saw him throw the ball 60 yards in the overcoat, and I was like, get Spears up there. I need to see Spears doing this.
See, now you're supposed to be on my team.
I couldn't keep a secret. You stole my joke.
No, this is what happens sometimes is I said the Dan Orlovsky thing because I knew that's how you felt. I said the Dan Orlovsky thing again because I knew that's how you felt. I said it one more time. We're still hanging out on Dan Orlovsky. I'm waiting for you to say, I want Marcus Spears to do it. And then I'll say, yeah, that will be dope. And then we move on. You don't do it, so then I say it, and you're like, joke theft?
Economies were built off of joke theft.
Which of the games do you think that you would be good at? I like the agility challenge. There's a dodgeball. There's the quarterback challenge. Like, you can throw, can't you?
Yeah. So the quarterback one, I think it's too far away. Like, I think I could only hit the big targets. The moving, like, smaller targets from I think it looked like it was roughly a 30-yard throw. Like,
you ain't got 30 yards in your arm?
No, I do, but like a moving target 15 feet off the ground, there's no shot.
That'd be tough.
I think the NFL players are really bad at dodgeball.
So you think you'd be good at NFL dodgeball?
At least strategically. I know your theory that the balls are whizzing much faster.
My theory is everything is much faster than you think.
Yeah.
If I throw you out there in an NFL dodgeball game.
Oh, I'm not saying I'd be great.
But
I think I'd hang.
You think people wouldn't be able to tell which of these people is not a professional athlete?
Of course they could. They'd be like, what's this doughy loser doing next to Saquon Barkley?
I mean, by results.
No, I just think that the gap is smaller between me in a dodgeball game than an agility drill or throwing a football 35 yards or tug of war. Can you imagine me doing tug of war against NFL linemen? Like,
it'd be tremendous.
Yeah, like
I would love it.
You asked me to pick amongst the Pro Bowl games.
What's your dodgeball bona fides? I feel like dodgeball was popular around the time you were in college, and like I was playing football, so I wasn't like
we were not playing dodgeball in college.
No, there wasn't like a college dodgeball thing.
No.
Maybe there was like, or maybe not. Maybe that's older. Were there like dodgeball leagues that people like?
There definitely were. Like even when I graduated
yeah,
college,
you laughed
like
at me like it was
kickball
crazy.
and dodgeball. But like no, I wasn't like I didn't play dodgeball a single time or kickball a single time in college.
Oh, loser!
It was like a middle school game, and then when I was a camp counselor, I just dot like 13-year-old kids with. Welcome to the laser show.
I played dodgeball with my kids a couple years ago, and we got these little balls that fly really far but don't hurt.
And they're like the foam ones that are like a little bit squeezable, and you can just.
My shoulder hurt the next morning every time I play with them.
Oh yeah,
but I was whipping it.
Yeah, I mean, I just gotta fire that thing.
All right. On that note, I guess it's probably time for us to go talk to our good friend Wosny Lambre and find out why his Jets suck and what we missed so far in the NBA season. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Wosny Lambre, Jets fan and also NBA expert. I would like to, I don't know if we're springing this on you, Wosny, but we haven't been keeping up with a lot of basketball so far.
Had one eye on it.
Yeah, one eye on it.
Yeah.
But we've had two eyes on football.
Yeah, our third eye was on the
yeah, that's it. The third eye, the Kyrie was on football. So the conceit that I would like to use to help us basketball dummies understand what's going on in the season is we are trying to NFLize, that's the word, the NBA. So we're going to present terms to you or present teams to you to explain specific NBA occurrences, and you tell us if we're right or wrong. You good with that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Before we get into it, though, how you feeling about the Jets? New hire, you feeling good?
Listen, Aaron Glenn couldn't be happier. He was our starting cornerback when I became a Jets fan, honestly, with Keyshawn and Mo Lewis and the Tuna and all of these guys. And so fond memories of him as a Jet. Obviously, he's been doing a great job in Detroit. He said all the things I wanted to hear at the press conference. He seems like a guy who players enjoy playing for. He's clearly got his schematics in order. I'm happy that we hired that guy.
Good. I can't wait for Aaron to lead you to the Super Bowl.
I was
Charlie?
about to say, what's your reaction if you get?
Don't give him a chance to respond.
No, I need to know.
Don't give him a chance to respond.
What's your reaction if you get the little push notification? Adam Schefter is reporting Aaron Rodgers will return as the Jets starter next season.
Obviously, I'm going to be initially sad, but I'm sure by August I will have talked myself into this being something that could possibly work out. So, y'all know how sports fandom goes. It's delusion at its finest.
Oh, yeah. I had that a week ago. I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl.
And probably going to win.
He had me calling around looking for Super Bowl tickets like a dumb. I secured this man some seats, and by the end of the first quarter, I was trying to move him. I was trying to move him again. I gotta move these damn seats. Wosny, any interest in going to the Super Bowl? Not at these prices. All right, Charlie, I want you to start. What's the first team that you would like to select?
Okay, as I sort of try and gain an understanding of the NBA season, I want to start with the story that I have found the most interesting, the team that I've watched the most and had the most fun watching, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Shout out to my buddy Nick Gallo, their sideline reporter. But they're a team that we have sort of bantered about Sam Presti's plan for the last 5 or so years since the Paul George trade, when he ripped off the Clippers' face and ended up with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and picks for forever. And they've built a present while having an unlimited future, and they've done it through finding physical outliers, tall guys, long guys, guys who are switchable, a very unique plan of ball handlers and switchable guys. I think that you can explain the Oklahoma City Thunder in NBA terms being the Eagles and the way that Howie Roseman built that team, looking for outliers, looking for dominance, but they haven't won yet. They've done everything but win it all. And that's why I think that they are the Eagles. They're 37-9. They have all of these pieces that have been fantastic, even with Chet Holmgren only playing 10 games. And for the first time, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looks like a guy who can be the best player on a title team. I mean, I guess he's looked like that in the past, but he's looked like a legitimate MVP.
Charlie sandbagging, man. Charlie sandbagged me. He came in here with all this information when he's supposed to be not watching and not knowing anything. But anyway,
I had to sell my pick. I had to sell my pick.
Wosny, I would like you to respond and then dunk on him and show that he doesn't know nearly as much as he thinks he does.
I like the comp in the sense that Sam Presti is obviously probably the most well-respected, like outside of like Miami and Popovich and those guys. Like he's probably the most well-respected executive in the entire NBA. And I think quite reasonably so, right? The success to rebuild off of losing KD, then moving on from Russ, and to just rebuild on the fly as they have, has been quite impressive. And, you know, he has assembled a bit of a war chest in terms of draft assets. And I think the Eagles comp is quite apt also because of, they are considered to be one of the more talented outfits in the NBA. The only thing that the comp sort of breaks down a little bit is that unlike the Eagles, Oklahoma City is constrained by money. They cannot spend. They will not spend. Their ownership will not allow them to do so. And so those are basically the only handcuffs that Presti has. And, you know, people are like, oh, they have all these picks and all this great stuff and shiny stuff. And the reality is, they have 3 max players, 3 max contract-worthy guys on their team. Chet, J-Dub, and obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's already on a max. And so what does that mean? They could go out and sign Hartenstein, right, last summer on a 3-year deal, but that's because his deal will expire by the time the younger guys' max contracts kick in. And so those draft picks aren't just assets. They're going to use those because that's how they're going to replenish the talent on the roster with cheap contracts. They're going to keep their 3 max guys and constantly be drafting dudes that'll come in, you know, whenever Isaiah Joe or Wiggins or one of these guys wants to get paid, it's going to be like, yeah, go ahead. Go do that somewhere else. We'll have your replacement ready via the draft. But I do think the money thing is what's going to handicap these guys going forward.
It's interesting that you are looking at the long-term view of this team when it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like they could win this year, right? Like, or I guess a better question is, what would stop them? What's the reason why they won't win this year?
I think it's youth. And just honestly, like Shai is Shai. I think he's going to play at an MVP level in the playoffs, but I don't know that you can count on Jalen Williams to do the same. You know, he played decent in last year's playoffs. Granted, it was his first time in the postseason. Like that level of game planning that teams do for you. They played Dallas, who had Lively and Gafford, which just had the paint completely clogged up. And so J-Dub didn't look like the way he did in the regular season. And I don't think that in a year he will have become, you know, the kind of person who can shoulder the burden. And I'm sorry, like Lou Dort and Wiggins and Kaysen and all of these guys, like Kenrich Williams, these guys are going to have to take and make huge shots in the postseason. So I don't think anybody should be surprised if these guys don't even make it to the conference finals, to be honest with you. Like, these guys have great depth.
I mean, don't you have, like, Caruso? It's not.
Caruso. I love Caruso.
Healthy,
that guy is scared to shoot at this point. You should go look up his numbers from 3 this season. Like, they have limitations. They're not very big, you know, in terms of front court depth. Like, these guys can be pushed around down low. I get it. They have the best record in the league. They've shown the best defense. I think they have a legitimate shot, but I don't think anybody should be surprised if these guys don't ultimately even make it to the finals.
We do know NBA playoffs is very different from the regular season, but I don't know. My amateur view is concerns about Holmgren's health, and also this team nice. I watched them play the Warriors. They lost that game, which I think speaks to part of your point about the supporting cast, because I think SGA went for over 50, right?
52.
Yeah, he went for 52, and in that game, you're supposed to win. Like, everybody else is supposed to win against a Warriors team that's not a legitimate contender. So, I'll keep it moving to not get bogged down in this, because I think that I could.
By the way, I think that goes to my Eagles comp, which is like, we want to see the Eagles if they have to play from behind. This is like, it's the same thing as, can we see someone other than Shai create when it's a high leverage situation?
See, this is we're going to start off with some contention. Is you're wrong. That's not the Eagles. I think the Celtics are the Eagles, because
this is yours. Okay.
Yeah, the Celtics are the Eagles because if the Celtics don't have a superstar quarterback, the OKC Thunder, they have a superstar quarterback. Like, it's impossible to call the Thunder the Eagles when they don't have a superstar quarterback.
How dare we have a guest from the ringer.com on here and you say that Jason Tatum is not a superstar quarterback? That man is 14 years old and already has a championship.
I mean, I think he's incredible, but like,
I would say Jason Tatum in terms of superstars is like where you might say Matthew Stafford is. It's good enough to win. He's way better than pretty much a lion's share of the quarterbacks in the NFL.
What about he's right where Jalen Hurts is, and he's on a loaded team.
Don't do that.
He's a loaded team. He's the leader
Jalen Hurts,
of
Black
a loaded
Brad Johnson.
team.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that to Tatum.
All right.
He's not Jalen Hurts.
Well, all right. Update us on the Celtics. Like, I keep reading about how they're in a slump, then I look at the standings and their records and like, these fools still nice.
Guys,
Peyton Pritchard getting more minutes than I expected, but these fools still nice.
The Pritchardsons?
This team has been to the conference finals, 6 years in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Like, these guys have played in a bunch of important basketball games. You can't Jedi mind trick them into thinking games in January are life and death. It's just not gonna happen. Like, they've got so much experience, and not just like individually, collectively, as a group, these guys have done so much together. So the idea that these guys are just gonna be in January and like trick themselves into thinking that they need to be pedal to the metal against, the Chicago Bulls on a Tuesday night. Like, it's just not a thing, right? And so, like, the malaise is real. I just think it's like kind of like a bit of a senioritis kind of thing. Like, all right, man, we're just running out the string here until we get to the real time, which is the playoffs. I have zero worries about the Celtics.
Do you think they're when you see them, you think that they are on par where they were last year? Because they have 15 losses. They had 18 of all of last year. I know it's different once you win a title, but you feel that this team's just as good?
I think they're just as good. I think the teams around them are much improved, right? Like, I think the Knicks this year are better than everything that got thrown at them last year. I think, obviously, Cleveland this year has shown themselves to be much improved from last year. And even the Bucks, I think, obviously, are way better than they were last year, where they had a midseason coaching change and all of that stuff. Orlando's been banged up, but I think when they get right, finally, again, they will prove themselves to be much better than last year, right? And so I think the context has changed. The Celtics themselves are still quite formidable. I just think it won't be as much of a cakewalk getting out of the East as it was last season.
Okay, we're getting to the Cavs next. Charlie is going to tell you that team. But before we move on, I think one thing, it feels like the Celtics that I remember are the same as the Celtics now. Is there anything about this newer version of the Celtics that's different that I should know about, that I should understand when I'm watching these games? Or is pretty much just they still them same Celtics?
No, I mean, I think Tatum has become the sort of perfect player for this core, in the sense that he's become so much better of a playmaker. He's become so much better at balancing the pass, shoot, drive equation, way better than in the past where, he would get the freaking Kobe system in him and just want to do step back 19-footers for no reason. Whereas now he's going to put his nose down, get to the basket, get fouled, or draw help and kick out to, one of their plethora of excellent shooters. And so I think Tatum has so fully optimized himself for the group that they have that, they're just way more formidable than they were in the past.
God, you struck a nerve with me. The guys who just are like, yep, I'm Kobe now. That means I have to take a contested 18-footer. Drives me nuts.
All right, Charlie. What football team?
Nuts. It's disgusting.
Okay. What football team are the Cleveland Cavaliers?
The Cleveland Cavaliers are the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh.
And I know.
That's hateful. It's a little hateful.
Look, I know that they lead the league in offensive rating. I know that they're second behind the Thunder in net rating. I know that for a large portion of the season, they shot 50, 40, 90, and they have 4 guys who could be all-stars in any given year, and Mobley and Allen and Mitchell and Garland. But even though Donovan Mitchell's had plenty of 50-point games in the postseason, some were in the bubble, some weren't, you know that come postseason time, you're not going to believe it until they get through the
It's
Eastern
funny
Conference.
because you're a big Donovan Mitchell guy. But anyway, Wosny, what do you think?
So I got cornered onto being on Donovan Mitchell Island because I had to hear Domonique be like, this guy sucks. He can't play defense. He's not good. And I was like, this is too far. He is good.
Oh, Wosny, don't suck your teeth. You sucked your teeth as if you believe that I said that. But
no,
anyway,
no. I know you didn't say that.
He's gonna get hunted.
I know Charlie's ability to misrepresent, or not misrepresent. I shouldn't go that far, but to just add a little spice to it, some hyperbole, if you will, every now and again. But to be honest, I'm more Domonique than I am Charlie on Donovan Mitchell. I think traditionally he's had so much problem seeing the floor, just a tunnel vision guy, just a pure isolation guy, or in times in Utah where they had to just completely just gear the roster towards his limitations, meaning we got the best screener in the NBA and we spread this thing out so that your reads are as easy as possible. And I just don't think he's at the upper echelon of high volume possession guys. And I think, to be honest, the reason why the team is taking off this year is because they've de-emphasized Donovan Mitchell. It's because he's being used less this year as this primary, fake Luka Doncic type, which he's just ill-suited to be.
That's why I like this. That's what I like about the team.
No, it's a good call.
Yeah.
As far as the Vikings, I wouldn't go that far because I don't think anybody took the Vikings playoff case seriously. I think they have a more serious playoff case. I would more say they're more than Lions than the Vikings, where like their regular season juggernaut stuff is born from legitimate strengths on offense and defense. Like they've completely revamped their offense. They've empowered Garland to a degree that I thought was going to be important to unlock them. And most importantly, Mobley has been empowered to be a more forceful offensive player. They even let him create offense at the top for them. He's been a lot more aggressive, attacking smaller matchups. Whereas there were instances like, say, against the Celtics where Drew Holiday was guarding him, for long stretches of time on switches, and he didn't punish him. The Mobley that we see this year, if you put Drew Holiday on him, he's going to put him underneath the basket and destroy him, get fouled or score or both. And so the offensive gains are real. Again, Mobley and Allen, what they do for that defense, I think is legitimate. I just think when, especially the Boston matchup specifically, they're going to take away all of their ball movement, quick hitting stuff. They're going to force them to be one-on-one killers. And I just don't think Garland and specifically Mitchell have it in them to kill a team like Boston for, constantly switching and begging them to go one-on-one.
How much better is Evan Mobley than he's been in recent seasons? Is he better at all? Because I feel like he's one of the players that I've been hearing, like he's next. He's really good, but wait till, and the wait till hasn't quite come yet, or are we there now?
So this is the thing about Mobley. After his rookie season where he came into the league as a dominant defensive player, which is just not a thing that happens with big men. Big men tend to take time to get to where they can make a huge impact on their team's defense. And he was that out the gate. So people started getting excited. And what I'm sure you're talking about is like the Duncan comparisons, the Kevin Garnett comparisons, which happened straight out the gate. And then I think he kind of stumbled after that, particularly on the offensive end. And this year, man, look, the volume isn't crazy, but he's taking threes, making a decent amount of them. Again, been empowered to put the ball on the deck and try to score on guys. And so the defenses are always been there. I think after Wembanyama, I'm pretty sure Mobley is our best defender in the NBA. So, you carry a top 2 defender in the league, and now he's become a plus offensive player. So yeah, I think just his offensive sort of, being less timid than he was before, that alone takes him to a stratosphere where I think, I wouldn't have been against him starting over Karl Towns in the All-Star game. That's how impactful I think his season has been.
So you think he's playing defense? I hear second best defender. I immediately think of what Jaren Jackson's doing in Memphis. You think he's playing at a higher level defensively?
Yeah, I think so, because when Mobley's getting going, he's guarding Tatum. He's guarding Banchero. He's guarding these wings when he has to. And he's providing the rim protection. And he's just like a pick and roll savant. Like, this guy is the entire package in terms of what you want a big man to do. And that's what I think takes him to another level, just his ability to play in space. Like, Jaren Jackson isn't a stiff, but Mobley is just, he's another level when it comes to doing that.
All right, so I want to get into the Jimmy Butler conversation, but I'm going to use Kevin Durant to do it. I think Kevin Durant is Aaron Rodgers. he keeps needing one more of his guys to get it right. But I don't necessarily want to talk about Kevin Durant as much as I want to talk about the Jimmy Butler saga. I had a little bit of I guess I had to confront my own personal player bias with the way that Jimmy Butler's been conducting himself, and I have to have some like concern about him just like kind of not showing up for his team and all that other stuff. But then I came to the realization that, don't worry, I'll find a way. This is part and parcel to how the NBA behaves. Like, this is not new. I don't think if Jimmy Butler was completely outside of NBA culture, and for those who don't know, Jimmy Butler's been getting suspended continuously because
multiple sussies.
Yeah, because he won't conform because he wants a new contract. The Heat won't give him a new contract.
It's not that he won't conform. He's taking one-legged threes, intentionally tanking games, skipping team flights.
Okay.
It's more than not conforming.
Okay. All right, Wosny, go ahead. Jump in before I continue to defend Jimmy Butler.
Here's the case for Jimmy Butler and his behavior this season. 2 NBA Finals appearances, I think a couple more conference Finals appearances. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought they had any business making any of those runs. And it's not even a case where you could be like, well, these other guys were like, driving the bus. And no, it was completely driven by Jimmy Butler. There's no reading on Jimmy Butler's tenure in Miami that isn't A+. The guy passed with flying colors in terms of his tenure there. And on the flip side, Miami has had to endure 3 months of uncomfortableness while they figure out how to move him. Like, let's weigh those two things, guys. There's no comparison.
Way to go, Woz. Way to go, Woz. You're on the right side of history.
And the give and take. Like, the guy has done all of this stuff for your franchise while he was there. You guys completely overachieved while he's been there. And he has been the sole reason. I don't want to hear about Bam. I don't want to hear about Caleb Martin. I don't want to hear about none of that stuff. I don't want to hear about Gabe Vincent. No, it was Jimmy Butler.
You want to hear about Tyler Hero? Oh, no, we don't want to hear about Tyler Hero either.
I don't want to hear about Tyler Hero, who was injured for that finals run, by the way. I don't want to hear about none of that. It was Jimmy Butler. So, this offseason, he's like, guys, I think I deserve an extension. You guys disagreed.
Strus got paid.
Yeah.
Max Strus, oh my goodness.
I don't want to hear about him.
So, look, these people decided they don't think he deserves an extension. Jimmy Butler knows that on the open market, plenty of teams would line up to sign up to pay this guy for the right to have him with something to prove, with a chip on his shoulder to achieve for his new team. And so, like, I'm sorry, I'm definitely more Jimmy than Miami here. And then, the tough guy act of we're not going to play him, and Riley dissing this guy in the postseason presser last year after the Heat season ended, all kinds of crap. Like, I just think Jimmy is, again, as ugly as it's been, this is what it's going to take when you're on a team who's decided that you're no longer worth what you think you are.
I'm glad I handed it off to you, because I think defending Jimmy Butler is completely the wrong way to go about it, but it's like framing the broader situation, and I think you're right. I get when you isolate on this, it's like you have a contract. You're getting paid $50 million to show up to work. You need to show up to work. However, if you look at like the culture of the NBA and the history of the NBA, like a guy who does that for your organization kind of gets that deal, and a guy who wants to move kind of gets moved. And they are behaving in a way that's, I think, a little bit more, while it's not as offensive, it's a little bit more unique than the way that Jimmy Butler, well, I guess Jimmy Butler is doing a little bit. And I got caught in
I got stuck on the conformed word. I'm like, it's a little bit more than just being like, I want out.
Yeah, it's I want out, but it's another step of it.
I got to ask both of you this.
Okay.
Do you think they should have given him a contract extension?
Yes.
A max extension. Do you think that is what's best for their organization?
If you wanted to keep this guy in your building, yes.
No, if you want to try and win an NBA title.
I think what Wosny is saying that you should have traded him or an extension.
Move on.
Right. Like the in-between limbo is lose-lose.
I agree with that, and they've tanked his value, or he's tanked his value, or they both tanked their value.
It would be the smart thing to do because, and this is the funniest thing about this, and we talked about this on our podcast, Ringer NBA group chat. Go check that out wherever you get your podcasts. The funny thing about this whole Jimmy saga is nobody's actually talking about the parameters of the deal that he's seeking. So what Jimmy wants is 2 years added onto the last year of his contract. So he has an option for $52 million, and he wants an extension that would add 2 more years onto that. That comes out to about $115 or $120 million. So basically 3 more years of max contract money for Jimmy Butler after this season. I think it's safe to say Jimmy has at least 2 more damn good years in him where you can justify, especially in the playoffs, paying this guy a max contract. The other 2, I mean, that's just the cost of doing business, right? When you want to win at the highest level, sometimes at the back end of it is like, all right, man, we're kind of overpaying for the rest of what's happening here. I think absolutely Jimmy Butler with a chip on his shoulder, with something to prove, is absolutely worth a 2-year extension.
It does kind of feel like a lot of ego on the Heat side, where it's like we don't ever want to be the ones that got, but like sometimes you got to understand that the way that the league is set up, it just works that way sometimes. And I did want to take a second to make a broader point about the off-season stuff. Is like it feels like the NBA has always kind of like since the decision, they've kind of encouraged and trafficked in the trade demands and the super team, just the drama and the social media aspect of it, and it feels like it's coming home to roost. We got a chickens coming home to roost situation now, where it's gotten to a point where they don't like it anymore. But there was a time when they just wanted to get the headlines, and it felt like they were not willing to stand in the way. Am I wrong, Charlie?
I want to add on top of that, the NBA did. Jimmy Butler also got a lot of positive reinforcement for literally annihilating Cat and Wiggins and calling them soft and beating them with a bunch of backups and doing an interview with Rachel Nichols, and then Tobias Harris over me. Tobias Harris over
we all loved it.
It's the coolest.
And Jimmy's just doing the next evolution of that. So we all loved
it. And also he was right.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris over Jimmy was insane. Andrew Wiggins and Cat were loser type of players when he was over there. These guys had losing habits. He was right about all of that stuff.
All right, Charlie. Victor Wembanyama, who you got?
Okay. So there is a slim figure.
Oh, God.
Lording over the NBA with limitless potential.
You know where it's going.
Insane.
He's arrived faster than we thought. He could change the course of history. What he's doing is it's unprecedented.
Please.
I can't say it's a straight fan, but I was Victor Wembanyama to Jaden Daniels. I know that's different.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't get scared.
No, I'm not
Jesus.
Scared.
It's Jesus.
Yeah. And Victor Wembanyama.
You petered out. You were building to such a great crescendo. And then
I couldn't even take it seriously.
I was loving it. I was loving it.
The second you said there's a slender, I was like, oh my God, is he really going there? Is he really comparing Jaden Daniels to Victor Wembanyama? Look, Victor Wembanyama is obviously just the most unique and special of a player, not just in his talents, but like you said, Charlie, just the rapidity of this guy's impact.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy is killing folks. He's already made himself. It's his second year in the league. He's already the most feared defender in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. Offenses clearly change up what they want to do when they're playing against this guy. He's dictating terms to the best players in the world, and it's only his second season. That's amazing. The Spurs are like playing contenders, which, very on our podcast before the season, like, I think the Spurs are going to fight for a play. I thought that was nuts. The team that I saw last year basically get scraped for 3 months, that they would come back with basically the same group of guys, a couple of rookies, and Chris Paul, and now be so much better. But, the internal improvement has been real. Wemby has just been, he's been incredible. There's just no 2 ways about it. He's already probably the 7th, 8th, 9th best player in the world. This is all in his second season.
I think that answers my question, because my question would be, like Jaden Daniels, when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal that's that good, you go spend your money, you load up, and you make a championship run. If you are the Spurs right now, are you thinking about building around him young guys that can run with him and grow with him, or are you thinking, let's go get De'Aaron Fox, let's go get whoever's available?
De'Aaron Fox is young still, for the record.
So
that's a fair point.
Here's the thing. I'm thinking yes. In terms of tomorrow's not promised, he's a young guy. He's a 7'4", 7'5" guy. We know how injury-prone guys that size have been traditionally. Look no further than Philadelphia, if you want an example of that. But the realist in me knows that, like, just as a corporate structure, why put expectations on yourself when you don't have to? When everybody's just going to be happy to just ride the wave of this guy's improvement, and you make your little incremental steps, and everybody will be happy so long as the improvements are happening, even if they are incremental. So I can just see them being super safe and not doing anything. But I was making the case on our show, and I wonder what you guys think about this. Like the Spurs, because De'Aaron Fox came out, and it's been reported that the Spurs are his number one preferred destination. And, there's this idea that if you're the Spurs, that you might be like, we like De'Aaron Fox, and he would be quite additive and even complimentary to what Wemby's trying to do, but we might want to wait and see if another superstar will voluntarily want to live in San Antonio, Texas for the prime years of his life, right? And what I compared it to is like a guy on Hinge who's like, got a nice match. This girl wants to be his girlfriend. She wants to hang out with him, but he keeps thinking there's better swipes out there. Yeah. And it's like, brother, put the phone down, make an honest woman out of this girl who wants you, want her back, and carry on like that. And that's what I think the Spurs should do. I think they should go all in, go out and get Fox and get this thing rolling.
I get that San Antonio may be this brother on Hinge, but Wemby ain't. Like,
oh, no.
If there's any players out there, so like they might not see San Antonio as an attractive destination, but I imagine that lots of superstars see that playing next to Wemby is a very attractive option. So, I guess I don't know for sure.
Here's where I would slightly disagree with you, Domonique.
Because that you're signing up to be a number two?
No, it's not that. It's that, well, that's part of it. So I got a chance to interview De'Aaron Fox like a while back. It might have been his second year in the league. And we talked to him for like 40 minutes to an hour. And he struck me as one of the most self-aware, just really thoughtful guys that I'd ever, like, in terms of NBA players, like, even at a young age, this guy has his head screwed on right. So I think it takes a certain level of self-awareness to understand that, like, hitching my wagon to this dude is going to be incredible. I don't think most NBA players of his caliber possess that level of self-awareness.
Fair point. It's not until the latter portion of their career that they start looking for these link-ups till they find their ceiling. Until then, they're like, I can be Jordan.
Yes.
I think I remember that interview was. That was the interview where he was gushing about, like, what's the most shocking thing about the NBA, and he's like, how hard it is to score over Porzingis. And then I imagine that he saw Wemby and he's like, you know what's cooler than a 7'2" Porzingis? A way more athletic 7'5" Porzingis who can bend in every direction, is the best defensive player since Bill Russell.
And you got to think about it. Look at the sort of, chemistry that he's built with Sabonis in that two-man game. And Sabonis is a severely more limited, like, he's a limited player compared to Wemby. Like, so many limitations. And now,
and he's a really good offensive player.
Right.
You bring that sort of two-man know-how to a Wembanyama situation. Like, it's just obvious why that would work.
All right. Jokic is Lamar Jackson. He was the MVP last year, but he's playing even better than his MVP season. That's perfect, right? There's no question about that.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah,
Jokic is
Pat
nothing
Mahomes.
missing. Jokic is Pat
Thank
Mahomes.
you.
I was telling people this the other day. Nikola, I was like, you know what? Nikola Jokic is going to go down with the Hakeems and, with the Duncans. in the Kobe level. I'm done with that. He's Mike. He's Magic. He's LeBron. He's Kareem level. All-time great, okay? Nikola Jokic he's of another world. This guy is. So no, he's not. And Lamar, I love Lamar. You guys know I'm in the tank completely for Lamar. Mark Andrews ruined my weekend the other day. Okay. But in terms of Jokic, no, Lamar, we love Lamar. We don't think he's on the Tom Brady level, Do we even think Lamar is on the Elway level?
How dare you?
I don't know that he's on the Elway level.
He is.
I just think Jokic is 5 best players. He's in that conversation to ever lace him up.
I mean, he got 1 ring though.
So
different
NBA.
Ring counting don't matter no more. Ring
Domonique,
counting matter
you
when we do other
you are not a count the rings person. I don't know why you're adopting this persona.
I'm not
right now.
However, normally we ring counting, but we not ring counting no more. Okay.
Listen,
all right,
man.
I'll accept it. I mean, I'll accept it. I think that is closer to Lamar. I think the listeners will agree. But it's fine.
Also, look again. I love Lamar Jackson. Go look at Jokic's playoff numbers.
You don't get to say you voted for Obama twice on this show.
Listen. I would have voted a 3rd time for Obama. Listen,
I love Lamar Jackson. However, get to the point.
However, go look at Jokic's postseason numbers. It's unmatched. The man he's unreal.
I stand down. Jokic is Josh Allen. Next.
No, but when you watch Dominique, when you watch this as a fan, and you're thinking of because as an adult fan, because I'm going post Jordan era, like I was too young to remember obviously prime Jordan stuff. Where do you have him on the guys who like sort of you're like that's the best guys I've ever seen?
I think he might be -2, which means he's better.
Take it seriously.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's not a list that I've made. I think he's great. Like,
you don't keep an all-time list in your notes app of your phone?
I know
of the top 23 players of all time?
Break it out, Wosny. Please don't. I hope you don't have your phone. He actually
Who's
does.
that number 23?
He does
Charlie?
keep a running list of that. No, I'm not allowing it. Do not take that stupid phone out of your pocket. Keep your running list. Like, it's not a list. It's not a list that I keep. No. Like, I know how great he is. I think that the Lamar Jackson comparison is probably not apt because of how good he is, but it's also not apt because he's not as exciting. Take that, basketball nerds. Wow. He's not as exciting. He's not. I know what you're going to say, but he don't have. I grew up on Jordan. I want some explosion.
He's
baby.
just the most. He any team he plays on is like the most aesthetically pleasing offensive basketball with the way the ball moves.
No,
he reanimated Russell Westbrook.
That's what I was just about to say, Dominique. Like, Russell Westbrook was left for dead. He signed for a minimum deal. Okay, he's now starting for the Nuggets because of the chemistry that Jokic has developed with this guy. This, like, the Lakers and LeBron. And again, I'm a LeBron guy. I'm a LeBron apologist.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a Bron sexual, as they would say on the internet.
All three of us.
I'm one of those guys. Okay.
Yeah.
When Russ was on the Lakers, we blamed Russ.
Yeah.
Even LeBron couldn't make that work. This man went from minimum contract to he's now starting. He's basically become an essential part of what the Nuggets do because of the chemistry that Jokic has built with this guy in 3 freaking months. It's incredible.
And that's the thing that we laud LeBron for, is being able to make guys who aren't that good seem much better and then go get contracts elsewhere. So, like, these conversations always end up in a way where it feels like you're on the far end of it. I just said he was Lamar Jackson. I think he's great too, guys. I will, after the show, I'll make my list and I'll report back to you. But we're definitely not looking at Charlie's stupid
Dr. J's 23.
It's real. It's not a joke. He actually has.
It's a running tally of all time and currently.
And you're constantly tweaking when you like have a
about.
New thought,
it's a once a month ladder.
Okay.
I mean, look. I just think Jokic is one of the 3 best players I can remember post Mike. To me, it's like it's. For a long time, I was like, it's LeBron.
Yeah, I mean,
Curry,
no
Duncan.
all-stars
I really
on his
just
team.
think it's
like I get it. I know
he's the
great.
second. To me, it's like outside of LeBron, and I will still like I was there, and from like the late Cavs years to the 2016 stuff. Like, to me, after that, he's like the second best player. He's like a past Curry to me. He's like the second best player since Jordan.
I'm with you, Charlie, and the numbers would back it up.
Well, when I get my list done, I'll get back to you.
I can send you some notes. So the next one, Joel Embiid, the king of PTO. and the 76ers, they are the Dallas Cowboys. Every single season we come in and we're like, is it going to happen, guys? Is this the year?
Yeah, and we also kind of already know that it's not going to happen, just like the Cowboys.
And it's also like Dak finished second in the MVP one year. Embiid should have finished second in the MVP one year. That's his rightful spot for that period.
That MVP.
And we just keep being like, if we just tweak things around him, we get the situation perfect, and he's healthy at the right time, this can work. And that's sort of why I think Embiid and the 76ers is the hype equivalent of the Dallas Cowboys.
100%. I don't know why the football gods, I can't pinpoint why the football gods have so cursed Jerry Jones and his franchise, but I know why the basketball gods cursed the Sixers. God did not like the process. Sorry. God did not like the process, and you are being punished with fire and brimstone. They need to repent for their sins, okay? When those damn Sixers fans retired what's his name, Henke's jersey in the rafters for having lost all them damn games, that's when God said, no, I got to come down and get these people.
Yeah, you don't get to run his game. You don't get to sacrifice a whole team for several seasons for the sins of your team. But yeah,
How dare they trade Michael Carter-Williams for picks?
I think it's an apt comparison. I don't know if there's anything to add other than Dak is always hurt in the important moments, just like Embiid.
I think it's apt, too, because of the oxygen, man, that these guys suck up in terms of the conversation. And for what? They haven't been past the second round once. Not one time. They can't get past. They can't even get me. Bruh, the Pacers went to the conference finals last year, y'all. The Pacers.
We're moving on because they don't deserve it. The Knicks, they're the Lions.
I love this one.
The Knicks.
I love this one.
The Knicks are going to have a great regular season, get everyone
all offense,
excited.
no defense.
Yeah, yep. All offense, no defense.
They'll bite your kneecaps.
Yeah,
Tibbs will bite the kneecaps.
They're gritty team. They're going to get all excited. They're the kind of people's team that we're all excited for. We're rooting for. We love them. And then they're going to get to the playoffs. And I hope that none of them get injured, but they definitely going to be tired. So it's going to be a version of injury is that they just are fatigued and they're going to fall short because Tibbs is playing these guys more minutes than are even available on the clock. What do you think?
The Knicks, I love the Lions comparison. So the Knicks starting lineup have played 4 times more minutes than the second most minutes starting lineup. They've quadrupled number 2.
Oh my
That's insane. And it makes sense. They're a team that's like 6-7 deep. Although they're working guys like Shamet in and you know, some of these other guys are getting a look finally. But yeah, I mean, it's done wonders for their chemistry in terms of it's just been so quick that they've been able to develop it. Because they've played so many minutes together where I thought there was going to be a learning curve in incorporating Karl Towns into what their sort of offensive ecosystem would be, but it was automatic and they've had a top 5 offense all year off the bat, which is just the idea. Like, I don't remember the last good offense the Knicks had was probably that one year they won 53 games with Melo and Tyson Chandler and those guys. And that was a long time ago. And so just the idea that these guys are automatically top 5 and Karl Towns is so seamlessly fit. He's starting all-star games. The Garden freaking erupts every time he splashes a 3. It's been quite impressive. I don't know why I thought they would be a tougher defensive team than they've shown, but you know, there's hope in Mitchell Robinson coming back. Yeah, it is Tibbs, but you know, mostly it's like Bridges and Anunoby. I thought they would be much better at sort of dominating defensive possession on the wings than they have been this season. Maybe they're saving themselves for the playoffs. And the defense has been better in recent months, right? Like the last 6 weeks, they've been closer to a top 10 type of defense. But man, if you're going to play heavy minutes of Jalen Brunson, who's nobody's idea of Gary Payton, and Karl Towns, a lion's share of your minutes, you're going to have some struggles on defense. And so it's definitely something worth monitoring, just like the freaking Lions, man. They gave up 50 damn points in a playoff game.
How dare anybody give up 50 points in a playoff game? That never happens to anybody except for teams that have 16 players injured on their defense, right? 50 points in a playoff game? Playoffs?
The Commanders did that.
The double nickel last week. It was tough.
It's tough.
Oh, man. Chemistry ain't going to help you when you got to guard Steph Knicks. That's all. They don't have to guard Steph, but.
Yeah, and what?
When you have to guard Jason Tatum.
Yeah, the 5-out spread offense of the Celtics. It doesn't sound as sexy as KD's quote, but, Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you, Wosny. Next time we do this, we'll be up on basketball. We won't need our training wheels of football. Thanks a lot, man. Again, you guys need to check out Wosny at
TheRinger.com. Check out Ringer NBA podcast. Group Chat is the name of our show. We also got Real Ones with Logan Murdoch, Raja Bell, and my man Howard Beck. And just check out all the stuff we got at The Ringer. Whenever y'all done listening to Domonique and Mina and all of the great offerings that ESPN has, come check us out at The Ringer.
All right. Appreciate it, Wosny. Thanks to Charlie. Thanks to all the great producers. Parville, I love you. We out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.